Welcome to Talk Too Late. I am Game Too Late. I'm joined by my usual two amazing guests, Mik
Hi guys.
and Prosil.
Hey guys.
I've had a very smooth opening. Have you noticed? I was very smooth and calm today. Welcome to the Talk Too Late show, the show in which we talk about games from 2 years ago. And if you don't know about the show by now, well, you know, it's your problem really. It's a very simple concept. Yeah, you're definitely missing out. Very simple concept. We look at the games from 2 years ago because yes, we are a show on YouTube, but we're also available in podcast form on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And you can support us in a lot of ways. First of which is to engage with us and check out the comments and check out the referral link, and follow up on follow our future episodes. What we're gonna start with is our usual routine, which is to go over the releases of late September 2018. But before we do that, I just want to touch base with my two guests and let's see if they're alive. How are you guys? Have you been playing?
Yeah, we are alive, right?
You look younger, Mik.
I was wondering why we're not on the screen.
What do you mean you're not on the screen? You are on the screen. I can see you. Don't worry, you'll be live. You'll be live in the recording. I think so. Oh, let me enable this. Okay, yeah, you're live.
Ah, okay. Yeah, everything fine. We've been streaming here. You are getting drunk.
No.
You are ahead of the game, apparently.
Yes.
Everything fine on the boot continent. I've been streaming. I've been trying to do different things with my stream. I've basically been playing a new game every stream now. I've ditched Resident Evil, then I shaved.
I did check out your last stream. We're gonna try and have a look at it now. And yeah, you shaved. You shaved.
Yeah, there's been a clip from Home
Alone. That's an interesting clip. We're gonna check it out now.
Look at the blood that's coming out. I cut myself so much. Yeah, it turns out people like IRL stuff like this.
Do they? Cool. Interesting.
Yeah, they do.
Interesting. And yeah, I mean, this is it's strange to see you like this, but I think it's good that you are changing your streaming routine. So you're playing a different game every time you stream?
Well, mostly. If I finish it, I just start a new different game after that.
All right, cool. Fair enough. Cool. Prosil, what are you up to? You're not playing much, are you?
No, I'm not playing anything at all.
Anything at all?
I played today some Red Dead Redemption, but then I dropped the game because I think it's unplayable. I think I should have played this back when it was released. Found it very boring, so I'm not inspired. I'm not playing any games.
I found Red Dead Redemption super boring when it came out.
The second one or the first one?
The first one. I found it to be boring.
So good.
It was very Rockstar. It was too Rockstar in the sense of go from A to B.
Are you a cowboy guy or
No, I'm not a cowboy
guy,
and I'm not a guy who likes to die for reading the subtitles. I remember being unable to read subtitles and unable to follow what was going on the screen because my English is not good enough to understand Western cowboy talks.
Yeah, but it's so easy.
It's not.
It's just identical to Italian.
In theory,
from
I
Naples,
guess. In theory, I guess. But no, I didn't.
From Naples, they're pretty similar.
I don't know what it was, but I just didn't enjoy the game at all, and I just left it there. So goodbye, Red Dead Redemption.
It's a shame.
Anyway, maybe I'll give it another chance once they master it and they add a subtitled font size option. Okay. What we're looking at now is the release schedule of games from the second half of September 2018, 2 years ago. As you can see, there isn't much. It's been a quiet September, even though the first part of September was amazing. You guys should go and check out our previous episode if you missed it. But the second half was really a bit so-so. There was a lot of little Japanese stuff, like these little dungeon crawlers, like Labyrinth of Refrain. I tried to play some of this kind of games and I never really liked it too much. And there were also other little things like visual novels arriving to Nintendo Switch, as well as a lot of little indie games such as Undertale finally
Switch.
arriving to
Nice.
Nintendo Switch, and the amazing Legendary Fishing, which doesn't even have a Wikipedia page, which is a shame. So we will never know about
You should do it.
Legendary Fishing. Maybe I will create a page for it. But there are a few Steins Gate related things in September of 2 years ago. So there was the game arriving on Nintendo Switch, Steins Gate Elite, and then there was this other thing, which is another visual novel, I suppose, Steins Gate Linear Bonded Phenogram, and then just that. So
It's awesome that they have Undertale. Like Undertale seems so perfectly fitting for Switch. It's amazing. I would kind of wanted to play it on my phone.
really, I actually
it's
never
good.
played it.
Is it? I don't think it's available for phone, but it would be awesome. Let me check it out.
Let me see what's on Undertale.
Broken Sword was released on phone and it made the fortune of the.
Yeah, I mean, mobile phones sell a lot of stuff now, and especially with they can develop actually full-fledged video games now. The Wolf Among Us, The Walking Dead, Life is Strange. There's
gonna
like
be-
complete games.
Yeah, we're gonna be speaking about the Walking Dead or the Wolf Among Us very soon for another reason connected to 2 years ago. But let's talk about maybe Broken Sword 5. Now, Broken Sword 5 2 years ago arrived to Nintendo Switch, which is just a testament on the fact that Nintendo Switch has got such a diverse library at this point, and this was 2 years ago. But it's really nice that they managed to port even a point-and-click adventure like Broken Sword 5, which I have never played, but luckily we are joined today by a massive Broken Sword fan, Prosil.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite chapters. I think after the second one, first and second, I think they are like masterpiece of point-and-click adventures. But this one is second to none. Honestly, it's a great game. They kept the original voice actors for Italian as well, Italian and English.
That's nice.
It's the bad thing is I played it on PS Vita. The bad thing is that they basically divided the game into two chapters. I played it on Mac as well. So if you were playing the first one when the second one wasn't released, I think that it feels like they've been taking the piss because you couldn't finish the game basically, and it's annoying. The second part is not too long, but there are some interesting cameos. I think it's a great game. It's also cheap now. It's one of those games I would have given for free on PSN Plus.
And they never did, which is a
I
shame.
think they did on Vita. at some point. But not
Remember PS Vita?
I do remember PS Vita, and you know what, guys? I'm gonna just jump the gun here a little bit and show you something related to PlayStation Vita since we are talking about it. It is an article from 2 years ago. From the 20th of September 2018, Sony announces that they have no plans for a PlayStation Vita successor. There you go. I know I crushed your dreams. I know.
I've cried
terrible.
since 2018. I'm still
You've
crying
been
a little
crying
bit.
and waiting for
Yep.
PlayStation Vita to come back. But no,
No,
PlayStation Vita.
I'm a huge Sony handled fan. I still own my PSP. I never bought the PS Vita because it just felt like a PSP 2. Meh.
I don't know. It's probably a very different library. PS Vita managed to have a slightly different library, but it didn't have a lot of games. But those few games that I played on PS Vita, I have to say, I had a lot of fun. But this is another conversation. So I want to ask Prosil, going back to his experience with Broken Sword 5, did you enjoy playing a game, a point-and-click kind of game, on PlayStation Vita?
On Vita, no, because I think that for this kind of games, you either use the mouse, probably is the best. The gameplay, they tried to add some touchscreen features I didn't like, and the touchscreen wasn't really working properly. Let's say that point and click requires a big screen if you want to use a touch screen. I don't know how it works on mobile, but I didn't like it. I'm a traditional gamer. But yes, the game is it's interesting. The problem with the Vita is that if you want to have a good audio, you need to have headphones and you need to be focused on this. Yeah, it's not bad, but for instance, the other game, Broken Age, which is similar, is much more enjoyable on Vita than Broken Sword.
I remember trying it
Broken
on
Age was on
PlayStation.
Vita?
Yeah, Broken Age was on Vita. I did try it a little bit, but then I ended up playing the whole game on PS4.
Nice.
As you know, if you've been following our
I followed you.
show. Beautiful.
I love Broken Age. It's such a good game. On Vita sounds decent.
I had a great fun. It was nice on PlayStation Vita, then I dropped it because I was playing other things. But going back to my overall experience with PlayStation Vita, I think that the few games that I played on it, some of them really worked very well. Some others were just like ports that needed to be ported on PlayStation Vita for some reason, but some other play worked very nicely. For example, Hotline Miami. I played so much Hotline Miami on PlayStation Vita, and that worked very well. And I cannot explain why it worked very well. I even used the touch function on PlayStation Vita using Hotline Miami because you could lock on an enemy by tapping on it, and you would lock on that guy. So that was a little thing.
Like, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
When you own a game on PS Vita, can you like switch your saves from PS Vita to PS4? Can you move them? Can you sync them on?
Depends on the game.
It depends on whether the game supports it. Yes.
Oh, it's a thing. Oh, like it's like PSP basically. It's the same thing PSP used to do.
Like Metal Gear Collection does it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Metal Gear Collection used to do that on PSP as well.
Yeah.
But on PSP you had to actually upload the save data from a console to another. It wasn't saved on a cloud.
I think
Maybe
that
they
did for Metal Gear Solid HD Collection on PS Vita. They had the same system of transferring, where you had to sort of upload somewhere the
PSP
saves.
thing.
And
This was a feature that had Metal Gear and Monster Hunter something Frontier 3, I guess, Freedom something. Only 2 games that I've seen it.
But for the PS Vita, I think in general, I think that some games supported the fact that you could have your saves on the PlayStation Network cloud, and then you could download it because it was basically sort of like the same build, or sort of like the same game, and it was in fact the same trophy set, for example.
Yeah.
So in a lot of my games, I actually have played some of them on PS Vita and some of them on PlayStation 4. But off the top of my head, I cannot remember whether the saves moved along and I could pick it up. And I actually believe the Hotline Miami might be one of those, the second one, but I might be wrong. Going back to the schedule, guys, I just want to show you the rest. I mean, we have Xenoblade Chronicles 2 arriving to Nintendo Switch. This is Torn of the Golden Countries, an expansion to the game, and we can just move on forward. There are just a few other little releases. South Park, The Stick of Truth, arriving to Nintendo Switch. We talked about this in the past.
We did.
Yeah, and
I played it.
yeah, I remember you talking about this a few months back. You guys can go back and check out the episode. It's probably South Park is appearing in the title of the episode if you look it up in our YouTube channel. And among the title that came out at the very late September 2018, there is Valkyria Chronicles 4, The Walking Dead: The Final Season, Hollow Knight, which arrives on console,
Whoa.
Let It Die, and Life is Strange 2. I'm gonna go over this slowly. Oh, there is also Dragon Ball Fighter Z arriving on Nintendo Switch.
This is a big deal, this game.
So, going briefly over these things that I've mentioned, the first one of them was Valkyria Chronicles 4. Valkyria Chronicles is one of my favorite games, but I really need to go back and to it. I want to replay the first one, which came out on PS3, and is now available on PC, if I'm not wrong, and PS4. And then a proper sequel was given to it in the body of Valkyria Chronicles 4. I cannot tell you much about it. It's been reviewed and welcomed as a good, decent new title in the series, and you guys should go and check it out if you want to try something different. It's a strategy game set in some sort of strange European-like place, set back in time, sort of like it's strange because the game is like set in this sort of alternative world where the military age is sort of at the time of the Second World War. So you have the military vehicles and the military strategy of old war, such as First World War and Second World War. But it's set obviously in a fantasy war, and there are worlds between.
But it's a JRPG, right?
Yeah, it's not a JRPG. It's a tactical game. It's a bit like XCOM, but you actually have fun.
You have fun with XCOM.
No, it's just a frustrating bullshit. XCOM is just bullshit.
The second one is very frustrating. The first one is okay.
The Walking Dead, the final season. We're gonna talk about The Walking Dead shortly. I don't know what this is. I don't know. Is this the final?
This is the only
season?
one that I haven't played. Yeah, it's the last game that The Walking Dead, this franchise, ever spawned, and we're gonna talk about the controversial in development. But it's the only one that I haven't played, so I cannot really tell you much. But I've seen the demo way back then, and it looks kind of grown up-ish. Like the developers definitely played The Last of Us at some point. They're like, wait, people actually, like it's not that they stumble and then they die. We actually need to create tension.
Yeah, and this was the episode 2. At this point, the episode 2 of the final season.
Yep.
As the other game that came out was Hollow Knight, which is a very acclaimed title, which came out 2 years ago on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. I mean, this is a big success on PC, and they finally made it to consoles 2 years ago. And I keep hearing about this game like it's a masterpiece, but I've never played it.
It is. You should play it. You'd probably like it.
Okay.
Because it is a game that takes its time, and
all right.
You definitely like the art for sure. At least it's kind of can be frustrating.
Okay.
It can, but take your time.
Shame of me for not getting my hands on it. But anyway, this little game was initially partially founded through a little Kickstarter that raised as little as $57,000. Can you believe it? But then,
that's not a lot of money.
You fast forward with a few years of work and it's done. Speaking of little games that start from very humble beginnings, there is Let It Die. This is a game from Grasshopper Manufacture. This is the studio of Suda51, the guy that made No More Heroes or Killer is Dead. And they decided some time ago that they were going to try their hand at doing some sort of action playing games free to play for PC. So they made this free to play game, and it didn't go very far. In fact, very recently this year it was announced that the game sold 6 million downloads, but seriously, the game is pretty much dead.
It's not allowed 6 million.
No, it's not a lot if you consider that, But look at this, which I've just read. Let It Die features 100 Japanese artists in rock and metal music, curated by the Silent Hill composer Akira Yamaoka. There you go. So he curated the soundtrack, so it must be interesting.
My God, it's probably the only good thing about this game.
I don't know. We'll know. Speaking of other things that are not as good as previous games, Life is Strange 2 arrives 2 years ago. Did you guys play the first one? Yep.
I loved, and I platonically made love with the first one.
Yeah, I think I did the same. It's very good. Have you guys tried the second one yet?
I don't remember. Wait.
if you cannot remember,
yeah,
it's not a good sign. It's not a good sign. Frankly, it is a bit forgettable.
No, I didn't.
So 2 years ago, the first episode came out, and the second one arrived only 3 months later in January, and the third episode arrived in May, and the fourth episode arrived in August, and the fifth.
Was it cooked even?
I don't know. The fifth episode arrived in December 2019. So this full game came out gradually that has been dropped over a period of like 15 months, and this game cannot afford that. It's a game that you play, it's okay, you're like, oh yeah, nice, and then you have to wait 3 months. No way. The game, it's too ambitious. When you ask people to wait for you for a year and a half to complete a storyline, I'm sorry, but you're just dragging it too long.
I think you're right, but I also think that a lot of people got kind of, lost a lot of love for the franchise with the DLC before the storm. That was probably what ruined it for me.
That's
definitely what ruined it for me. It's not that I just didn't like it. It is just, we all know that DLCs like this are just a cash grab to, further some money into developing the sequel.
Yeah.
And we sometimes accept it. It's fine if the
it's
DLC is
okay
good.
Because they get some money and you sedate your you quench your thirst and you buy yourself some time.
Everybody's happy. Everybody's happy. But the game has to be at least decent. And the game wasn't like I really didn't get what was the meaning of the game. And also they changed the best voice actor in the game, which was Chloe, and the game was revolving around Chloe as a protagonist. So they also had completely different developers. It wasn't done by Dontnod. So to me, they ruined the franchise there. And unfortunately, I didn't play this, but I'm probably gonna give it a second chance, an actual chance.
Can I tell you something?
Sure.
I'm gonna be an absolute douchebag, but I'll say
smash it.
Just skip it. Skip it. Seriously.
Isn't this though connected to the other DLC, the superhero DLC?
There's the Captain Spirit thing.
Isn't it connected to this one? You don't even remember, do you?
I know, but
you know, but you don't remember. It's so missable.
I think it's a meaningless thing. It's a bit like saying like they are in the same universe.
Okay.
So it's fair to say that this is also the same universe of Life is Strange 1, but it is very inconsequential.
Sure.
Yeah.
Life is Strange 1 actually had some gravitas. There was like things were happening and you actually felt the weight of things. It was really well made game.
I think they had a good protagonist with Maxine.
Sure.
And this game has a couple of brothers. They're nice characters, but there's something just... It's a bit too absurd. You just kind of relate to these two kids who are just having it the worst of luck possible, and it's just a bit too extreme. Anyway, we
destroy this game and then we can move on.
Yeah, we finish destroying. We can talk about FIFA 19, of course, but no. Let's talk instead about Dragon Ball Fighter Z. Did you guys play Dragon Ball Fighter Z?
No.
I have to.
I actually tried it on PlayStation 4 with the power of PlayStation 4.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's a good game. It's fun. It's a super fun game if you are a fan of Dragon Ball. It's really for fans. The game came out.
So many Dragon Ball Z games.
There are a lot of Dragon Ball games, but I think they're getting better, I suppose. And it came out on consoles in the early of 2018, and it arrived on Nintendo Switch in late September. It's a good game, and if you are a fan of Dragon Ball, you will definitely have a lot of fun with this. It was a game that was received pretty well in terms of scores. I mean, if you think that this is a good score page. Look at that.
I've seen some stream of this game and it looks awesome.
It looks like the cartoon. That's the funny thing. It looks like you're actually looking at Dragon Ball.
An actual animated playable cartoon.
Yeah.
And it kind of follows the Budokai Tenkaichi step, which was my favorite when I was a kid. It basically, there's like a little bit free roaming, there's like quests and things to do. It's really interesting.
Cool. So this was the release charts of 2018 of 2 years ago. We're gonna meet again in 2 weeks to go over the October release, which opens with the Hokuto no Ken game, with the Kenshiro game. Then there is Assassin's Creed. Then there is Super Mario Party, Forza Horizon 4. There is Luigi's Mansion.
Wow.
So we're gonna go over all these things 2 weeks from now. But now I just wanna actually have a moment to talk about what happened 2 years ago with TellTale Games, the studio which found its biggest success with the first Walking Dead game, and then all of a sudden they started leaking information around the 21st of September that things were not quite steady at the company. And the company CEO releases this statement: "It's been an incredibly difficult year. Unfortunately, we ran out of time trying to get there. We released some of our best content this year and received positive feedback, but ultimately that did not translate to sales. With a heavy heart, we watch our friends leave today to spread our brand of storytelling across the game industry." So it's a pretty grim message, like, hey, we did good, but you didn't buy our games, and now all these very talented people, I'm firing them. I will teach you.
Some of them will die of starvation.
That's all your fault.
Bridge.
Thanks, the CEO. And a few days later, the news is actually confirmed with this new article. Telltale Games employees were surprised when CEO announced the closure of the company at a staff-wide meeting. Where you have the sort of meeting town hall where
everybody is on board,
everybody is in the same room, and you expect the boss to say like, "Hey guys, help yourself to crisps," and instead he said like, "You're fired. We're shutting down. Thanks.
Everybody's fired. Bye-bye."
Yeah, so something like that. And as you can imagine, and as often happens in the industry, the details are always a bit sketchy and grim, in the sense that people are told to leave. They cannot even, some people cannot even go back to their desks. You know how these things happen sometimes when people are let go. It can play out in a bit of a painful way, because you're letting people go. Some people are just told to go on the same day, stuff like that. So yeah, it's
there's outside.
Is still available? If games are still available on the store, I don't think so.
The game
they were for a brief
pulled.
time.
Yeah, and I think they had been pulled.
Some have been pulled, some come back at some point. The thing is that somebody sometimes buys the license and re-puts them on sale for like a year or two, but it's not a stable situation. Like, some of them are disappeared forever, at least from Steam. Like Monkey Island, I think Monkey Island came back at some point. It's probably there now. For a long time we didn't have them on Steam, and they keep coming and going away.
Yeah.
Hopefully now they're a little bit stable. There's a documentary on YouTube if you wanna see firsthand from. Yeah, it's really good, and it's really heartfelt. Turns out, a lot of guys that worked there were really actually a nice guy, and they probably didn't deserve what happened.
No, of course, who doesn't? Because especially the way it happened was pretty strong.
Yeah.
Those laid off were encouraged to begin applying for unemployment as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And told their health benefit would run out at the end of the month, just 9 days later.
Yeah.
And they had 30 minutes to leave the building.
Do you think a countdown actually started?
I
29,
don't know, like
59, 58.
Imagine, being told that you're gonna be unemployed in 29 minutes. The lack of severance, a detail that began circulating on Twitter, was one of the bitterest details in a game studio collapse that has sparked outrage and sympathy among those who play and making games. I remember this all over the internet, all over Twitter and website news, and also
it was a big deal.
on our Facebook page, which you guys should follow. But yeah, this was pretty intense. A lot of people got laid off like that, and it's strange because, as we were saying just a few minutes ago, this is when TellTale had just released episode 2 out of 5. So some fans were annoyed at the company and were also thinking, you just released, like, you had a game in the pipeline. You are clearly working on some stuff that is probably almost done. And almost done, I guess, but it wasn't enough to keep the company afloat. Even with the projections of those potential sales,
absolutely,
they decided that
some
they were
say
not
they bid
going
more than they could chew. I mean, they did a lot of titles, and not every title sold as well as they wanted.
So I'm going back to the Wikipedia page to see what has happened after the layoff. On September 21, TellTale announced that they were going major studio closure, leaving off nearly all staff and leaving only 25 to complete the studio remaining obligation. And what has happened basically is that the company, that the game transitioned to another studio. So at the time, the final season was unknown. They didn't know what was going to happen. They had released 2 games out of 5, and the second episode was released and blah blah blah. And those within the TellTale stated that they were halfway through completing the 3rd episode, so they still had 2 episodes and a half to make. So at the time, Skybound Entertainment, this little, it's a publisher founded by Robert Kirkman.
Yeah, basically the guy there. Yeah,
basically the Walking Dead guy.
Yep.
They decided they started supporting this licensing effort, and they started a small Skybound game division. They basically threw money into this thing, and they said like, okay, let's make a game as well. And they decided to hire this style and keep them on board and finish this off, which I think was a way to save the face of the brand. Just funny. And it's also a way for the original creator of The Walking Dead to get involved again with The Walking Dead on another medium. It's funny how this thing
he definitely
out.
wanted to Kirkman definitely wanted this thing not to stop me then. He really liked Clementine apparently. He kind of wanted at some point her in the show, or some form, and I guess he really didn't like to leave these things halfway. He had some like $10,000 to throw, no, maybe more. How much do you think, like 100?
So the initial intent of Skybound Games was to work with third-party developers rather than its own development team. So they started working with developments remotely. And anyway, I'm gonna scroll down and get to the end of it. Kirkman officially announced Skybound's involvement in finishing the final season in October 2018. Skybound announced in November 2018 that the TellTale team, now still not beaten team, had restarted work on the final season. Still not beaten. It's a nice.
They are still
name.
around. Still not beaten team. They're still around and they still make video games.
That's good to know. And Skybound also affirmed that they've gained the rights to sell the former Walking Dead games. So everything was coming together under a new rooftop. Users that purchased the title before TellTale's closure will receive the final episode on those platforms. So the season was moved to the EGS, to Epic Games Store, and from then on they pretty much carried on and finished the game and released the game. Skybound produced a physical release of the final season for PS4, Xbox, Switch. Later on, we're gonna talk about it in the future months. But yeah, this is what has happened to the old game. It's a bit strange, but eventually the game got done, and everything saw its end. But this was a pretty big story of 2 years ago, and there are many other stories. Another story from 2 years ago is that PlayStation Now started making its game downloadables, and this is something I want to talk with Prosil about, because he's our PlayStation Now guy. So until 2 years ago, you could not download the games; you could only play streaming. So Prosil, how much of a deal do you think this is?
So it has to be said that before, when you could just stream games, the service was costing 29 euros a month or 25 bucks in pounds. Absolutely not worth it, because you really need to have a steady connection. So personally, I play just 2D platform games streaming, because those one maybe you can finish them without problems. But if you're trying to play an FPS like Metro Redux, for instance, it's never gonna be good to stream unless you've got a very steady and fast connection, both upload and download speed. Even if you pass the test, it's not gonna be a good gameplay. So absolutely, I think that was a must do for them. Still a service that has room for improvements. Didn't look like it was 2 years old, but it's even more. It's an okay service. I mean, I did subscribe for 1 year now.
So do you download all the games
I
that you
download
play?
all the games, yeah.
Right.
Also, because to stream the game, you just do a mini download and you install it. You install the stream way of the game.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I couldn't finish any game. I couldn't.
In simple
and also
streaming.
you don't unlock trophies when you stream. I think I didn't manage to unlock any trophy now that I think about it.
Wow, that's absolutely unacceptable for you.
Hey,
dare
that's
you.
what you say it. I think it's something that people should.
I think it's a big deal. Like I'm playing a full game, I'm putting 30 hours into a game, and I cannot even unlock a game. I can't unlock the trophy. Like, come on, man. That wouldn't be cool. But we're gonna talk shortly about this again in the future. We're gonna finish off.
Anti-Prosil.
Yeah, anti-Prosil, absolutely. In 2018, PlayStation announced in September that they were not going to hold the usual conference, the PlayStation Experience that they usually do in September. And also, we're gonna finish off saying that Nintendo's online service got reviews 2 years ago after being on for 18 months. Eurogamer deemed the online Nintendo subscription to be disappointing, and we're gonna place our own judgment on this service eventually once Prosil will have the chance to try it. Maybe. I know he's tempted.
Yeah, this time around I am because of Mario anniversary. So
there you go.
Yeah,
that changes things. And I'm gonna finish off saying that 2 years ago, Sony announced the PlayStation Classic was going to come out in December, and everybody thought that this was gonna be amazing. We will see later that maybe it hasn't been all that amazing. But let's finish off.
Oh, we're gonna talk about it, aren't we?
In future episodes.
Nice.
I'm gonna finish the episode by showing you this little statistic, because it's always nice to see statistics. This is the controllers owned by all the players on Steam 2 years ago. You could see that up until 2 years ago, the most used controller on PC was an Xbox 360.
Wait, who plays with a PS2 controller?
A lot of people do. And
How?
frankly,
You have to put in like an input that switches it to USB.
yeah, you have a converter.
Yeah, I bought it once, didn't work. That's weird though. Like drivers are all weird. Maybe emulators, emulator guys.
I don't know.
it has to be said that the Xbox is the most compatible.
That's exactly.
On PS2, you still you need to download drivers to make it work.
Yeah, and it also doesn't work with the X input like Xbox. I believe that the Xbox 360 is largely most sold. It's probably the best one. But as you can remember from our previous episode on our favorite controllers, I had an Xbox controller and I loved it, Xbox 360. But when it died, I had to replace it with an Xbox One because they don't sell Xbox 360 controllers anymore unless you want to spend like $100,000.
My God.
So yeah, this is way cheaper compared to. It's a good controller. It's just like the 360, but a little bit better maybe.
I wonder with the new PS5 controller what's gonna happen. That's gonna be very, very unique.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah. Hopefully it's gonna be properly supported on PC. I am sure.
Big.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna leave you at this. I'm gonna let you guys plug in your channel for our viewers to come and find you, give your coordinates, and we're gonna wrap up our channel.
Okay, boy. You can find me on twitch.tv/MikMayo, not Mikmalo, not Mikmao. I know the temptation is hard, and I stream every Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday. Check me out. We're gonna be playing possibly some David Cage game or Shadow of Mordor this week. We'll see.
Nice.
Pew pew.
David Cage sounds good. Prosil.
Yep.
So you find me at Prosil, twitch.tv/Prosil you play too much. At the moment I'm not streaming. There is some challenge going on. I'll resume, I think at the beginning of October, I'll have plenty of games to catch up with. So
Yeah, you're resting. You're resting. The trophy beast is resting. I am Game Too Late. I have been Game Too Late, and this has been the Talk Too Late show. You can find me at twitch.tv Game Too Late, or you can find me on facebook.com and just ask people, you'll find me. Or you go to facebook.com/Game Too Late. Yes, just ask people, hey, what about Game Too Late? And they will help you. They will
Streets of London.
send you my way. Reminding you guys that you can find us on your favorite podcasting platforms. So while you commute from your bedroom to the kitchen, you can put on your earphones and listen to a podcast, inside your house during the quarantine or during the forthcoming winter. We're going to be quarantining again shortly, so you can do that and listen to the podcast. Thank you guys for watching. I'll be seeing you guys in 2 weeks, and thanks again to my 2 amazing guests who we'll be seeing again soon.
Stay safe.
Bye.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye.